Hi.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Letteri.
Joe, you are the Director of Weta Digital, owner, director, producer?
Yes.
Everything?
Yes.
Gold stars, stripes?
Yep, and my title on the film is Senior Visual Effects Supervisor. So that's what I really do for a job.
Were you on the panel today at the Libero?
I was, yes. Yes, that's why I'm here at Santa Barbara.
I just put two and two together there.
Yes.
Did you enjoy that panel?
I did. It was really good. It was great being there on the panel with Rob Legato and Tim Weber. They're both great guys. They do great work. The moderator, Ted Galliano, was great. He knows his stuff. Best part for me, though, is taking the questions from the audience. I like to hear what people want to know and what they're thinking.
What were some of the interesting questions? Because they may be better than mine.
Some of it was just really asking about what was interesting, because a lot of people were interested in it from a work perspective. There are a few people obviously looking for jobs, but it's interesting that is kind of gone into the mainstream, where people are asking, how did you get started? What did it take to get into this? And how do those specifics sort of tie together to what you see on the screen? But probably I think the most important one is people were just asking why you do things like this, what propels visual effects, because every film we're trying to do something new and something different. And the answer there, of course, is it's the story. Every year directors are coming up with new stories to tell, and we're trying to give them new ways to tell those stories, new characters that they can put into those stories. And for me, that's the part that I enjoy most.
Where did you get your start?
Well, I started in my first film was actually at Industrial Light and Magic. And that was Star Trek VI. My second film was Jurassic Park. So I got to work on creating the dinosaurs, and for me that was really a great place to be at that time and that day, and just to try to figure this all out.
Do all of these start from drawings?
A lot start from drawings for design and concept ideas, yes. Then we quickly turn to doing 3D models in the computer. When you're doing characters, you also start animating immediately, because it's all about performance. It's more so than the way a character looks, it's about how they perform, right? And that's the same with any actor, if you think about it. Looks are the thing that you kind of, you recognize, you attach, but it's really a personality and a performance that draws you to a particular actor, not the way they look.
That's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. So you animate the 3D models in terms of their articulation and everything they may do, or
exactly.
Puff or puff or look, or every single
everything.
How many moves could a character have?
Oh, well, it's infinite, right? It's just like any real actor. So we just try to find the right ones for the scene at hand. And a lot of times we do get to work with actors to help provide, the basis for that, because actors can do this spontaneously. That's what they do very well.
Oh, I see. So they'll come in and you'll watch them move.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you translate that to a 3D animation? Do you put little sensors on them?
Yep, there's two ways to do it, because we developed that technique for Gollum back on Lord of the Rings, working with Andy Serkis. You put the sensors on, and you can record the movement, and then you can kind of use that to apply it to another character. There's still a lot of hand artistry that goes on top of that, but when you work that way, you have an actor's instincts into what's going to happen moment by moment. You get that quick reaction that you don't have time to overthink, which is really what gives you the spontaneity. So, for example, when we did Smog this year, we did the same thing with Benedict Cumberbatch. We put him in a suit and we recorded everything that he did as he was doing his performance, and Peter was directing him. So again, you get that feedback like it's live, like Peter's directing a dragon and Benedict is the dragon, but you can't use anything that you recorded, but you get the nuances, you get the moments that you care, the instinct, exactly, yeah.
There's an instinct there that you don't have to overanalyze or overthink later on. They just give it to you.
Exactly. And then we took that and said, okay, now how do we make our dragon look like it was him there that Peter was talking to instead of Benedict? And you just start analyzing, why does this moment work? When he turns his head this way, when he pauses here, why is that good instead of doing something else? And we try to just bring that to our character.
So your observation skills of human beings in a group, for example, when you're not working, are they that keen? Do you watch micro movements and that sort of thing among people?
Yes, always trying to learn, because we have to do shots of all different kinds. We have crowds of people, sometimes like this where they're standing around waiting, sometimes where they're fleeing something. So, you're always trying to look for clues so that you've got something to come back to the next time this comes up. I remember.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Now, Journey, who's my assistant, is 20 and a big fan of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, fantastic.
So I know he's dying to ask
Great.
you a question.
Okay,
So why don't
thank
you
you.
step in my place? Can you do that?
Okay.
Sure. I was interested to hear out of the 5 Tolkien universe movies that you worked on so far. Do you have a favorite that was to work on out of all of them that was a more enjoyable experience, or can you talk about that a little?
They've all been enjoyable, but the first one that I got to work on was The Two Towers, and I think for me that's the most memorable because that's where we really got to establish how the world was going to work. Like in the first film, which I wasn't a part of, they did a great job of creating the sort of like the concepts behind the look. But in the second film, we established, things like characters like Gollum and how they were going to work, and the Fell Beast, and we really got more into the creature side of it. That was the creatures that were going to kind of live throughout the rest of the trilogy. And we're still working from that. When we brought Gollum back on the first Hobbit film last year, it was like a homecoming. It was an extension of all the work that we had done, 12 years earlier.
I remember hearing that for Gollum in the first movie, I mean, he only has that brief scene.
Yeah.
And then in the second one, you had to totally...
We redesigned him completely, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, in the first movie, Gollum was sculpted as this sort of scary creature. And he only had to show up and just show his eyes. But when we got him into the second movie and he had to start performing dialogue, we realized that the way he was designed, he couldn't act. His cheekbones were not in quite the right place, his eyes weren't quite doing the right thing, so we had to redesign him so that he could actually act.
Wow, that's amazing. Lastly, thank you so much for spending this time with us, but I wanted to know, can you talk at all about having worked with Andy Serkis so much? I know Benedict Cumberbatch has, in some ways, replaced that role of being the main guy in the suit, I would imagine. You can tell me or not. But just, the experience of, I heard that for his voice and everything, he had to have a whole special syrup. I mean, can you speak at all to working with that world?
Yeah, no, Andy is fantastic, and the thing that you have to know about Andy is he's a great actor. And that's why his performances come through when we apply the digital character to it. He's got just a real, presence to him, and he brings a real charm to the characters. Like, again, a character like Gollum could have just been scary, and that would have been completely uninteresting. But he brought that character and showed us the history, the vulnerability, the confusion, everything that makes him a compelling, interesting character. Andy thought about how that would play out. And so when you watch him perform and it's just us on a mocap stage, it's like watching the most amazing theater in the world because it's just him and it's completely captivating. And that just, that translates out into what you see in the films.
I imagine he's doing, you're all collaborating to create the world around Gollum and who Gollum actually is. So his performance must be a foundation there. Of course, great talent, of course, as well. But
no, Andy's performance is absolutely inspiring. Did the same thing for us on King Kong. Once again on Caesar for Rise of the Planet of the Apes. He's just a tremendous talent. And especially when we're trying to deal with characters that are not real, and you're asking audiences to accept something the first time they see it, that this is a real character. As I said before, you can make a character look real, but that's not enough. They have to be believable the moment they start moving, and that's what Andy brings to it, is that heart, that believability.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. I see what you mean by great actor.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I have one more
Thank you.
question.
Real honor.
What are your dreams like?
Yeah, they're pretty normal. Yeah, they're normal. Yeah. Usually I start dreaming about the things we're trying to put in films, which is great. It gives you some way to try out new ideas. Yeah.
Thank you again. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I can hold that up for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Got it?
Thanks.
Do you need it? You're done.